Hello everybody and welcome back to the RORSRPS Season 2 Qualifier. My name is Preston Vieira and we are back for another week of finding our next Season 2 competitors and potential champions. We took a little break over the weekend to give you guys a chance to catch up, but we also announced all of our current qualifiers over on the RORSRPS Instagram and held our first bulk tour placement votes, which went amazing, and you'll get a look at our updated tour lineups in just a minute. But as usual, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed tonight's event and want to keep up with the qualifiers, or just catch the soon-to-come Season 2 featuring 3 Tours of Chaos and a new larger total of 48 main field trucks. Don't forget to head over to Instagram and drop a follow to our official page at RORSRPS, because this Saturday, our tour placement votes will be taking place once again for our newest qualifiers, and I need your help to decide which tours our new qualifiers are going to be competing on. Big thank you to everyone who voted this past weekend. We got some great looking lineups from it and from our first week, and I'm excited to see you guys put in your votes for this week's set of qualifiers. And as you can see, Indy Madness is already halfway full. Just a word to the wise, you got to be cautious filling up one tour super fast. You never know who could qualify next, and you might want them to be on a tour that's already full. Now, though, it's time for our picks for tonight's first event. No requests in our first bracket, but it'll be a fully randomized bracket, and we're kicking things off here on the reuse wheel. Monster Patrol right there getting picked. Nice to see him back. Overkill Evolution will be getting another shot. Of course, Overkill has been killing it on this track. He just needs to hold it together a little bit longer in order to end up in the finals and potentially get into Season 2. Soldier of Fortune Black Ops will return, and that's one of those trucks that has been really solid on this track. And I mean, we've only seen him once, maybe twice if I'm misremembering, but he killed it last time around, getting all the way up, I believe, into the finals. Just took a L there in the finals. Cheesiest Machine, our last pick here on the reuse wheel. He's back, looking for a spot in the finals and in Season 2. Taz is coming around this time around, looking for a spot as well. As Safe Auto Minimizer 2, Son of a Digger, has already been chosen, so we are not, or already been qualified in thanks to his two-wheel skills win in the World Finals, so we are not counting that one. Sheriff is coming around with that Racehorse body, or Racehorse chassis, excuse me, taking on the MTP Cyclops. First time we're seeing him on this channel, and that truck looks awesome, as well as that Overboard coming in at the end there. Here is our lineup. We're going to shuffle this thing up 3 times to find our official lineup that will lead to our round 1 matchups here. And there is our third one. And here's your official lineup leading to our bracket. And let's take a look at that bracket here in just a second. For round 1, we got Suburban Daredevil taking on Iron Spider to get us started here. Taz is going to be taking on Incinerator. Sonic Heroes will face off against Monster Patrol. Soldier Fortune Black Ops is going to be taking on Cyclops. Overboard is going to take on Sheriff. Mohawk Warrior will take on Safe Auto Minimizer. Blue Thunder is going to take on Max D Gold. And Overkill Evolution will face off against Cheesiest Machine. That one down at the bottom there could go either way. And I mean, they all could, really. I mean, this track absolutely eats trucks at times. So it could go either way. We'll see how it goes here. Iron Spider coming out on your left now, taking on Suburban Daredevil, who will come out on top. We've seen these Spider-Man trucks come out here a lot and overshoot some jumps and, you know, oversteer in turns. But when it comes down to it, they are really great racers. There's one of those over jumps right there. Absolutely overshooting that Jackrabbit. Really need a solid downside there to get a beautiful landing on that gap on the first floor here. Suburban Daredevil with a slight lead heading into the slalom. Will Spider-Man get that oversteer problem under control? Seems to be doing all right. I mean, trying to adjust and get used to being on the track again. Potentially for round 2, if he makes it, you know, he'll have to tighten up some screws here for sure. Suburban Daredevil, the first one up onto starting elevation, but Spider-Man gets up there cleaner. Iron Spider is in the lead right now as we head up onto the bridge tonight. Beautiful landing and combo, but Spider-Man gets into trouble on that median, that center divide there, heading up into the tunnel now. Who is going to take a better transfer? And it's about equal. Oh, but Suburban Daredevil runs right into the wall, unable to keep that truck clean. Iron Spider with the lead heading towards the gap. Will Iron Spider clear it? They do love to take a shot, and they do. Iron Spider, oh no! Down goes Iron Spider in the elevated turn. Suburban Daredevil is free and clear to grab a win here. Can he get across that finish line? If he can get across that finish line, he will be moving on to round 2 tonight. A little wide in the turn, definitely needs to work on that as we head into round 2, but he will be in round 2. We will see him there, and we'll see if he can improve just a little bit and, you know, throw down a solid run. Could be our next qualifier. Who knows? Suburban Daredevil, a solid first pass. As we mentioned, definitely some things to work on, but we'll be seeing him again. He has a shot to work on it. Incinerator coming out now on your left, taking on Taz. Taz is another one of those trucks that I would absolutely love to have in Season 2. It's been a while since we've seen, you know, Taz, specifically Taz, run on the circuit, and, you know, he's never been showcased on this channel before as far as the full season goes, and Incinerator goes for a big ride, hard hit all over that truck, really. So Incinerator is done. Taz is free and clear to head into round 2. Just needs to get across that finish line, as we mentioned, with Suburban Daredevil. But yeah, Taz has been a truck that I would definitely love to see in Season 2. Hopefully he can hold it together here tonight. Coming up short on the double rollers there, getting into trouble and having to back that truck up. Not good for his time. We'll see if that is, you know, incentive enough to get him to tighten up those screws before or heading into round 2 here. Getting up onto the bridge. Solid over the cars, getting kicked sideways though, and that is going to hurt his time even more. Now, I mean, his time doesn't necessarily matter here. His opponent is done. It's not like he's going to, you know, unless he rolls the truck and is unable to save it, or they shut him off and he can't get refired, he will be moving on. But it's just, you know, not looking good for this pass so far, which really, I mean, if you think about it, it's not looking good for later on tonight for him, because there's always room to improve, and you can make improvements and be fast, but if you're going to make silly mistakes all night, then you're not going to make it potentially past round 2. But speaking of round 2, after my long ramble that I shouldn't have said, Taz will be heading up and over the finish line here and moving on to our next round. Hopefully he can get that, you know, those improvements improved. He can work on some stuff here, but he's going to head back to starting elevation. Get that truck ready for round 2, potentially to throw down a solid pass. Sonic Heroes coming out next, though, on your right, taking on Monster Patrol on your left. Monster Patrol has not been featured in the RORSRPS season. Sonic Heroes, though, was a substitute on the Sponsor Showdown Tour last season. Managed to grab a freestyle win at the Spin Master Oakland event, and, you know, didn't do too well in the Monster Energy Anaheim event. But he did do well enough to get into the World Finals, where he threw down a solid freestyle. Did roll over in round 1 of racing. Monster Patrol heading out onto the concourse here. Wants some cotton candy or some funnel cakes there. But they do let him refire, probably thanks to that holographic crowd we got. But Sonic Heroes is in the lead, already coming out of the slalom and looking for that double roller. Beautiful downside up onto starting elevation. Kind of getting into some trouble there. Could have went over the sidewalls and ended up down. But it's Monster Patrol just now getting over the double roller there. Getting tripped up, heading onto starting elevation as well. Sonic Heroes with a nice lead on Monster Patrol. It's looking good for him as we head into potentially our second round here. Looking for a transfer for Sonic Heroes. Beautifully done. Nice and controlled. Keeping it off the walls in the tunnel. We'll see how Monster Patrol does here in about 5 minutes. Nice landing. Kind of bouncy. Kind of kicks him all over the place, but it's solid. He's still running. Oh, Monster Patrol gets kicked up. Rear end over the nose, and down he goes with one of the hardest hits we've seen tonight. That hurt. He is, even if he could get back on the wheels, he is done tonight. Sonic Heroes coming around that final turn. Sonic Heroes is up and over the triple and headed to the finish line. He'll be moving on to round 2 tonight. Solid first pass from Sonic Heroes. Very minimal mistakes on his part. I mean, there's always room for improvement, right? There's a couple things he could work on, but he made it into round 2, and Monster Patrol didn't, and that's where it's at. We'll be seeing him again in a little bit. Sonic Heroes looking for a Season 2 qualification. Soldier Fortune Black Ops coming out next on your right, taking on Cyclops on your left. First time we're seeing Cyclops on this channel, and that truck looks amazing. I mean, I'd be happy with either one of these two trucks. The only thing is Soldier Fortune Black Ops is the one who made it into the definitely the semifinals last time around. We'll see how he does tonight, as he has an early lead on Cyclops. Both trucks looking solid for the gap, though. What is going on Cyclops' end? Just went completely crooked from the start. Didn't even try to straighten that truck out until he was nearly on the ramp face there. That could have been potentially dangerous. Soldier Fortune in the lead, heading through the slalom with a much more slow and steady approach, potentially. Might be the word that I'm thinking of. More cautious approach for sure than last time around. He was definitely sliding a lot more last time. Keeps it nice and controlled this time around, but he's heading up onto the bridge in first, holding on to that first place spot over Cyclops right now. Cyclops is doing a decent job of making up some time. He just needs to, work a little harder here. Soldier Fortune a little sloppy, manages to keep it off the walls, but gives Cyclops a chance to get a couple more feet gained on Black Ops here. Black Ops is going to try and clear it. Gets clipped. So does Cyclops, though. Cyclops ends up more controlled there on the landing, but Black Ops is just too far ahead, has too much of a lead on Cyclops here. He's going to head into our final turn already. Cyclops right there with him, but not close enough. Soldier Fortune Black Ops is going to be moving on to round 2 tonight. Nicely done. Solid pass from Soldier Fortune. Needs to, the bridge he kind of struggled on, and the tunnel. Just got a little sloppy in the tunnel. Wasn't too bad. He held the lead, obviously, from start to finish, really. But he needs to get it under control if he wants to take a Season 2 qualification. They are headed back up to the pits now. Overboard coming out next on your right. He'll be taking on Sheriff on your left. And these two independent trucks are going to go hard here on the Spin Master Showdown track. Looking to show out and, show off for the independents here. Make a name for the independents on the RORSRPS season. Nice sky wheelie from Overboard there. And it's neck and neck over the Jackrabbit. Overboard, decent landing there. Getting about the same landing from both of those trucks. Sheriff just behind right now. Overboard with a slight lead as we head into the slalom. Looking good for both trucks. It's a near tie. Sheriff making up some ground here in the slalom, heading first over the double rollers too. Done from both trucks, getting up onto starting elevation. It's Overboard with a very slight lead, heading onto the bridge. Nicely done from Overboard. No real bouncing, kind of smacked that front housing into the car there, but keeps it under control. Gets out of it nice. Struggles keeping it off the walls though. Sheriff grabs the lead again coming out of the tunnel. Gonna shoot the gap. Sheriff's going for it. Hard hit on the front end though. Harder hit for Overboard on the front end. Sheriff is just widening that gap right now, coming out of that elevated turn first. It looks like it's gonna be Sheriff unless he rolls it in this turn. I don't think that's gonna happen. A pretty solid turn from Sheriff. We might have Sheriff in Season 2 once again. Different version, but still Sheriff. It is Sheriff moving on to round 2 tonight. Overboard is done. Just an unfortunate landing there on that elevated turn. Now, he was behind since the tunnel. I understand that, but if it weren't for that rough landing, Sheriff had a rough landing of his own. So that was Overboard's shot to make up some time there. But check this out. Mohawk Warrior coming out on your right, taking on Safe Auto Minimizer. And that is the, consecutive Mohawk Warrior. Now, we did have a more recent consecutive Mohawk Warrior, but this is the OG consecutive back in 2012. Nicely done from Mohawk Warrior over the Jackrabbit. He's right there with Safe Auto Minimizer right now. Mohawk Warrior behind right now as we head into the slalom. Minimizer doing a good job of holding that lead, but this is where those werewolf trucks can excel if they handle those slaloms properly. Obviously, Mohawk Warrior didn't do too well on that last turn, but he's right there neck and neck with Safe Auto right now. He's getting to the bridge first. Safe Auto with a slight lead. Mohawk Warrior kind of jamming into that ski hill there. And Mohawk Warrior comes out of it cleaner. A slight lead on Minimizer right now. Mohawk Warrior leads heading onto the bottom floor here. It could be Mohawk Warrior, one of the werewolf trucks, making it into round 2, but we'll see how the rest of this lap goes. Mohawk Warrior, of course, coming up short on that elevated turn. Minimizer shooting the gap and getting out of it pretty well. Slight lead heading into our final turn here for Minimizer. Can Mohawk Warrior make it up here? It's close. Mohawk Warrior slight lead. Oh my goodness! Safe Auto Minimizer by inches comes back there and knocks out Mohawk Warrior. Wow. What a close race there at the end. I mean, they were neck and neck the entire race, but right at the end, man, Mohawk Warrior did have a lead heading over the triple, but it was Safe Auto Minimizer putting the power down and grabbing a, leading position, heading over the finish line. Blue Thunder coming out next on your right, taking on Max D Gold. And this is going to be a solid race here. I love that classic Blue Thunder, man. That's one of the best looking trucks that I've seen. And I mean, it's a classic. It's simple. It's kind of a, whatever you want to say about it, but I love the way that thing looks. Max D is slightly behind Blue Thunder at the moment. Does have a better landing there on the Jackrabbit, so he does grab a slight lead and a better landing on the gap as well. Blue Thunder trying to make up some time here as we head into the slalom. We'll see how he does. But Max D can really chuck that truck around. If Blue Thunder tries to do that, he's going to end up upside down or even in the pit of disqualification. It's neck and neck here, though, as we head out of the slalom. Really neck and neck. I mean, dead tie over the double rollers, but it's Blue Thunder who comes out of it cleaner. Max D getting kicked up on the nose there, having to pull those front tires back down to the ground, or those rear tires back down to the ground. Let's see who comes off the bridge better, man. I'm really just a fan at this point, man. I love getting to watch these things and commentate over them, because this is like the type of stuff that I would be watching. That's why I make these videos, because I really love just throwing these events and seeing who's gonna win. It is Max D in the lead right now as we head for the gap here on the bottom floor. Max D solid over the gap usually. See, there he goes, solid there, but gets a sloppy turn. This is Blue Thunder's shot. Trying to make the most of it, but he can't really do too much. Max D Gold just comes out of that turn first, even with his mistake. Heading around that final turn once again, Max D can just sling that truck around a bit better than Blue Thunder can, so it's gonna be Max D. Moving on to round 2, we might get our first Max D heading into Season 2 tonight. An exciting prospect here as we move on into our later rounds. Blue Thunder kind of heading towards that dumpster there, settling down, but We'll see Max D again in round 2. Overkill Evolution coming out next on your right, taking on Cheesiest Machine. Again, both of these trucks are solid. Cheesiest Machine has been around more times than Overkill Evolution has, if I'm remembering correctly, but Cheesiest has been more consistently deeper into the bracket. Both trucks getting solid landings there. Both of them kind of sloppy as well. So, I mean, it's kind of, Overkill is behind right now, but as far as driving ability goes, it's kind of neck and neck. We'll see who comes out on top in the end here as we head into the slalom. Overkill comes back here in our first couple of turns. Looking good on both ends. It's neck and neck coming out of the slalom, heading for the double roller. Overkill just a bit too much of an adjustment before those double rollers, does fall behind. This would be Overkill's second season with us as a main field competitor if he manages to qualify. So of course he's one of our trucks that are desperately trying to get into the next season to really be one of the OGs, you know, and make their name known as, you know, someone who's been around for a while. Cheesiest Machine clipping the tunnel. Hits the wall in the tunnel, having to really get that truck adjusted here, trying to keep it off the roof, does. But that was a close one there from Cheesiest Machine. What a save. But it looks like it's going to be Overkill Evolution heading into round 2 tonight unless there's a big mistake in this final turn. Cheesiest looks like he's done. Beautiful turn from Overkill, and it's not going to happen for Cheesiest this time. Overkill Evolution moves on to round 2, knocking out Cheesiest Machine here at the end of round 1. And as Cheesiest Machine heads up and over the finish line, that is going to do it for us here in our first round. We're going to get a look at our round 2 bracket here. Suburban Daredevil is going to face off against Taz. Sonic Heroes will take on Soldier Fortune Black Ops. Sheriff is going to take on Safe Auto Minimizer. And Max D Gold is going to be facing off against Overkill Evolution. I mean, Sonic Heroes versus Soldier Fortune is going to be an interesting one, I can tell you that much. Soldier Fortune, of course, I am leaning towards at the moment. Sheriff has been solid, and that's going to be a great race against Minimizer as well. Middle of the bracket is pretty solid usually on this in our qualifying window so far. Taz on your left, Suburban Daredevil on your right, and we're going green for round 2. Heading up and over the step up, neck and neck right now. Who's going to come over the Jackrabbit better? Taz gets a better landing, but Suburban Daredevil might have come off of it better, if that makes sense. It's just, you know, transitioning from the Jackrabbit to the floor. There was a lot of rebounding on Taz's end where, you know, Suburban Daredevil was slower over the Jackrabbit. You know, he landed sooner than Taz did, meaning he landed on the cars, so he was able to roll off of that ramp face and get a smoother transition onto the floor. And it's Suburban Daredevil leading over the double roller as well, getting a much better downside. Taz overshooting those rollers there. Taz, a big gap between him and Suburban Daredevil. Suburban Daredevil gets into trouble with that median. Falls behind here. Taz grabs a lead, and he'll be leading heading into the tunnel. Can he get a solid transfer? Bounces a little bit, trying to keep that truck under control. Keeps it off the wall, which is good. Suburban Daredevil fighting to keep that truck off the wall this time around as well. Taz is the first one to the gap. He's going to go long to low here. Try to stretch out that gap as long as he can. Suburban Daredevil comes long to low as well. So it's looking good for Taz as long as he can just get across that finish line in first. Can he hold it together around this final turn? Looking good for Taz, and it's gonna be Taz making it to the line first, up and over the triple and headed to that finish line. Taz moves on to the semifinals tonight. Suburban Daredevil is done. Just one too many mistakes this time around. And that's really what it was. I mean, he was solid everywhere else. It's just in the tunnel, unable to, or no, not in the tunnel, excuse me, in the, on the bridge, just ending up hitting that center divide and totally messing up his landing there. Sonic Heroes coming out next on your right, taking on Soldier Fortune Black Ops. Now, I said this is going to be an interesting race, and I mean that. No matter what happens, this is one of the races that I am honestly more excited to see here, because this could really dictate our Season 2 qualifier, the rest of our bracket. If Sonic Heroes moves forward, it could go either way. Let's say that. It could go either way for Taz. But if Soldier Fortune moves on, I'm thinking it's going to be Soldier Fortune getting into the finals after our semifinal race. Sonic Heroes struggling in that first turn big time. Soldier Fortune an easy lead here heading into the slalom. Can he hold it together for the whole race? Can Sonic Heroes make up some time here? He's doing good through the slalom, keeping that truck controlled. And he's not too far behind as we head through the double rollers here. Soldier Fortune, of course, our first one back up to starting elevation, but it could get close. Nicely done over the cars for Soldier Fortune. Big sky wheelie from Sonic Heroes. Not necessarily what you want to do, but not necessarily something he could fully control either. Sonic Heroes with a solid transfer. Black Ops getting kicked around all over the place, but holding his lead. Shooting the gap once again for Soldier Fortune. Black Ops. Sonic Heroes going to go long to low, and that looks like it is done for Sonic Heroes. This really runs the rest of our bracket here tonight. Soldier Fortune, Black Ops heading into round 3, our semifinals, with a beautiful turn. Does come up a little short on the exit, but a solid turn nonetheless. Sonic Heroes is done tonight in round 2. Soldier Fortune Black Ops, we'll be seeing him again in a minute, and that is going to do it for Sonic Heroes as he finally gets across that finish line. Look at the celebration stoppie from Soldier Fortune. Last season we had regular Soldier Fortune hit the track and do pretty well, making it all the way up into the World Finals, unable to grab any championships there, but I mean, same could be said for 22 others. So good for her for getting into the World Finals qualifying. This time around it could be Soldier Fortune Black Ops. Minimizer coming out next on your right, facing off against Sheriff. And they're already up and over the Jackrabbit, neck and neck here. Minimizer a bit behind, and definitely behind Squirrely in that first straight, having to come up short on that gap on the first floor. Not looking good for Minimizer right now. That is a death sentence for a lot of trucks, really, as far as the bracket goes. Once you have to go long to low there on that first gap, that really sets you back. And I mean, unless your opponent does the same, or your opponent makes an even bigger mistake, you don't have the best shot at moving on. Sheriff nearly falling off of that starting elevation there. Both trucks getting big sky wheelies up onto that starting elevation though. Nicely done from Sheriff. Big leap up onto the bridge. Minimizer doing the same. I mean, you have to, but both of them kind of really aired it out there. Nicely done from Sheriff. Solid transfer into the tunnel. A little bouncy, but solid. Minimizer getting in trouble on 2 wheels, and a bounce off the wall is gonna roll him over and end his night here in round 2. Sheriff looks like he'll be moving on if he can get across this finish line. Nicely done through that elevated turn. Sheriff is throwing it down. I mean, he's in the bottom of the bracket for the semifinals tonight if he can get across this finish line. And I mean, he might be ruling that bottom bracket. Up and over the finish line, Sheriff moves on to the semifinals tonight. Looking good for Sheriff. Sheriff could end up in both seasons this time around. Solid pass, nicely done. Keeping it together the entire night so far. Overkill Evolution coming out next on your left, though, taking on Max D Gold. And this is going to be another really solid race. Hoping for Max D. I would love to see Max D get qualified in. I mean, we're getting pretty deep here. We already got half a tour filled up with trucks, and we don't have a single Max D yet. So hopefully we can get one here soon as Max D leads over the gap here on the first floor. Overkill a little sloppy there on the landing. Gets kind of bounced around. It's Max D holding on to that lead as we head into the slalom, but Overkill does good in the slalom. He might be able to make up some ground here. Oh no! Manages to save it and keep it from falling down into the tunnel. But, into the pit of disqualification, excuse me, but Overkill Evolution falls even farther behind there, getting spun out and nearly falling into it. Getting up onto the bridge, Max D holding on to that lead, just widening it more and more as the race continues, especially since Overkill made that big mistake. Solid transfer from Max D Gold. Can Overkill get it? Nicely done. Looking extremely fast through the tunnel, really trying to make up some ground. He needs to shoot the gap if he's going to do anything, but Max D does as well. So it's not looking good for Overkill, and with the long delay there, he's done. Max D looks like he'll be moving on to the finals, or semifinals, excuse me, to finish out our round 2 bracket. Beautiful turn from Max D, and that is going to do it. Overkill Evolution is done. Maximum Destruction moves on to the semifinals. And now let's take a good look at our semifinal bracket and check out the interesting races we got here for our third round here in the first bracket of the night. Taz is going to be taking on Soldier Fortune Black Ops to start the semifinals. And to close it out, Sheriff will be facing off against Max D. Two variants of returning trucks, Soldier Fortune Black Ops and Sheriff, this time the pickup truck, taking on 2 brand new trucks to the series. I mean, we did have a Max D in the past, but not a maximum. Oh no, we did have a Maximum Destruction. We had a 2007 version of Maximum Destruction. So we'll see if Maximum Destruction can return as well. Taking off of the starting line, kicking off your semifinals, up and over that step up. Taz needs to go hard here if he wants to knock out Soldier Fortune Black Ops, and it's Soldier Fortune in the lead. Taz does get a great landing on that Jackrabbit though. Beautiful transfer on the gap. Solid downside there. Taz is making a good effort so far. I mean, that's what we want to see. Hopefully he can continue to improve on his previous runs. Not that his round 2 pass was bad, but we saw him struggle in round 1. And with a gap in front of him behind Soldier Fortune Black Ops here, might not be looking too good for Taz right now unless he tightens up some screws here. Oh no, Taz clips the dumpster. The dumpster puts him out once again. Soldier Fortune Black Ops free and clear to grab his spot in the finals tonight. Taz goes down. Looking for a transfer for Soldier Fortune Black Ops, a little too bouncy there. Almost got into some trouble. Definitely slowed him down. Heading up and over that final roller on the bottom floor, looking for the gap. Nicely done, keeping it off the roof there in the turn, keeping it controlled so he doesn't end up in those cars either. They will shut you off if you get up on top of those cars by the dumpsters there. Soldier Fortune Black Ops heading into that final turn. Soldier Fortune Black Ops moves on to the finals tonight. Is tonight the night? Ooh, real squirrely there in that final straightaway, but gets across that finish line. Soldier Fortune Black Ops moves on to round 4 tonight, our final round of the night. We'll see him again in a minute. We only got one race between us and the finals right now. Sheriff versus Max D. Who will grab that final round spot? And here they are for your final race of the semifinals. Max D on your left, Sheriff on your right. Who is gonna take it? Remember guys, we need 27 substitutes to fill out the bracket. If you have any truck ideas, leave them down in the comments below. I'm considering every one of them. You might see your substitute suggestion in season 2, filling in for one of our main field trucks. Sheriff is a mess right now, and with a bounce off the dumpster, it's not looking good for him. Maximum Destruction leads in the slalom. They do let Sheriff refire and continue running, but that is going to hurt him big time. Not the way you want to perform in the semifinals. Max D coming out of the slalom now. Sheriff about halfway through. A rough double roller for Max D. Looks like he's trying to give Sheriff a shot here to get back up into the lead. Sheriff sloppy there on that double roller as well. Huge sky wheelie, nearly falls off the ledge, and it's not looking good for him here. Max D already off of the bridge. Sheriff just now getting up onto it. And with a solid transfer from Max D, he's going over in the tunnel. Max D is done. Sheriff going into the wall. Nice save. That was a close one. Sheriff is moving on to the finals tonight if he can get across that finish line. With a huge mistake to start, Max D just makes a bigger one and is unable to come back from it. Sheriff going over the nose, gets a save, keeps it off the cars. He's good to finish his race if he can get across that finish line. Sheriff moving on to the finals tonight, knocking out Max D here in the semifinals. The final race is Soldier Fortune Black Ops versus Sheriff. But when this race is over, don't go anywhere. We got one more full 16 truck racing bracket to burn through. And that's going to be some fun as well. All new trucks. We'll see who can make it into as our second qualifier of the night tonight. Soldier Fortune Black Ops will be on your right, taking on Sheriff, who will be on your left. And this is going to be, I mean, it has potential to be a really great race, but Soldier Fortune Black Ops really can be on another level. He can. Just straight up, he could be a killer out here on the track. Sheriff is looking solid tonight, but is having a lot of mistakes. I don't know if he's getting tired or if the pressure is getting to him or what, but he's having some mistakes, and last round he had one of the worst ones you could have, really. But we're going green here in the finals, looking for our first qualifier of the night. Neck and neck over the Jackrabbit. Sheriff holding it together, but gets kicked sideways a little bit. Soldier Fortune Black Ops grabs the lead, and Sheriff comes up short on the gap. That hurt him big time. He's gonna have to work really hard to grab that first place spot from Soldier Fortune, but Soldier Fortune Black Ops spins out a little bit in that first turn, just oversteers a bit too much, having to stop that truck to get it pointed in the right direction, giving Sheriff just a couple more seconds to recover here. What a landing up on the starting elevation for Sheriff. That was interesting. Soldier Fortune Black Ops, the first one up and over the cars on the bridge. Sheriff right there with them. Oh no, Sheriff hits the center divide. And he might be done here, unless Black Ops makes a big mistake. Sheriff getting into the tunnel now, hoping that Soldier Fortune Black Ops will, end up upside down or something, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen. Soldier Fortune Black Ops, a beautiful transfer onto that elevated turn. Sheriff gets a pretty solid one of his best of the night, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen for him. He's just too far behind. Soldier Fortune Black Ops coming out of that final turn already, heading up and over the triple. Soldier Fortune is your next Season 2 qualifier, and he does it, grabbing a win against Sheriff. We'll be seeing him all season in Season 2. What a night of racing from Soldier Fortune Black Ops. Just kept it consistent all night long. Minimal mistakes. Anytime he made a mistake, it was small enough to recover from, that he was able to, reclaim or hold that first place spot. What a night for Soldier Fortune Black Ops. And I told you, that Soldier Fortune versus Sonic Heroes race would be a decision maker as far as the rest of the night's bracket goes, and potentially the qualifier for the night. And there it is. Soldier Fortune Black Ops moves on. You can vote for which tour he will get placed on this Saturday on the RORSRPS Instagram. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, all you really do is hit some buttons, and you decide what tour these trucks end up on, which decides their competitors, which decides our champions, which decides our World Finals qualifications. I mean, there's so many implications of your vote, and all you have to do is hit a button once, and the rest of the season plays out on its own. One last look at Soldier Fortune Black Ops. Now let's take a look at our next attempting competitors here. Troublemaker is our first one. Then we got Hot Wheels 2002 coming back. We love that old Hot Wheels truck. Thunder Roris coming out. See if he can get requalified. Our sponsor showdown tour champion there. Team Mints is getting another shot. Incinerator is back, as well as Mohawk Warrior coming back. He's just here, but getting another shot. Saigon Shaker. We're probably going to use Shaker for that one, but Rap Attack, the Werewolf Node Beam version, coming out next. Over Rev. I honestly haven't used that truck at all, really. War Wizard and Spellcaster. That's pretty cool. I think we're going with Spellcaster though with this one. Doomsday is another one, a custom Doomsday. Sugar Rush Rocket is another truck that's going to be taking part here. Gearhead, that is a NAMP truck that is going to be coming out here looking for a top spot. Doesn't look too good for him, but we'll see how it goes as we get the rest of our lineup here. Shake Me, 5 years of ROR competition here for Shake Me, and it is the 5th year anniversary, so he's gonna go hard here, hoping to get into season 2 to celebrate it. Mohawk Warrior is gonna be taking on Troublemaker to get started. Doomsday is gonna face off against Rap Attack. Incinerator is going to take on Spellcaster. Gearhead will face off against Spider-Man 2099, another Spider-Man truck looking to grab that top spot. Team Mints taking on Thunder Roris. Over Revved versus Shaker. Hot Wheels is going to be taking on Shake Me, and Shock Therapy will take on Sugar Rush to close out round 1, and this is going to be an insane racing bracket here. Mohawk Warrior 2019 over there on your right, taking on the obsessed version of Troublemaker. Literally just a white body with Troublemaker slapped on the side on the door. But we'll see how he does here on this track. We saw this obsessed truck do really well in the past, so we'll see if he can make it up into the finals and take a win here. Up over that Jackrabbit. Obsessed, nice and smooth. Mohawk Warrior, not too bad. They're neck and neck up and over the gap. Truck's looking good around that first turn, but it's Mohawk Warrior with a slight lead. Immediately blows it heading into the slalom. A bit oversteery there in that first turn. Looking good. I mean, overall, he's not losing much ground to Troublemaker, but Troublemaker does have a lead heading up onto starting elevation, getting into trouble. Both trucks really struggling there, getting up onto starting elevation 2 different ways. Heading up over the bridge. Who's going to take the lead here? Oh my goodness. Mohawk Warrior completely sideways there. Obsessed leading this entire race so far except for that initial turn. Kind of sloppy there for both trucks. Mohawk Warrior running right into that wall in the tunnel. Doesn't look like it's going to happen for Mohawk Warrior, having one of the worst runs we've seen from the Mohawk Warrior trucks as a whole. Any Mohawk Warrior we've run so far. A Troublemaker heading into that final turn already. Yeah, not going to happen for Mohawk Warrior this time around. Troublemaker moves on to round 2. Taking the win from Mohawk Warrior in our first race of round 1. Mohawk Warrior just now getting across that finish line, and that hurts. Big gap between the 2 competitors. We'll see Troublemaker again in just a little bit for round 2. But our next race of round 1, we got Doomsday taking on Rap Attack. Of course, as I mentioned, Rap Attack is that Werewolf Node Beam version, so we'll see if he can keep that truck in one piece as we head on into the next round. Who can, or into the next race, excuse me, who will come out on top here? Doomsday, the first one to that step up. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. Rap Attack trying to keep that truck under control. Doomsday kind of struggling as well. Doomsday's going to come up short. Long to low there in the gap. Rap Attack, an early lead here. Can he hold it the rest of the race? Through the slalom, Rap Attack a little bit wide in these turns, trying to settle it down there in the exit of the slalom, and he does pretty well, but doesn't look good for him here. Gets up there, gets back up on the starting elevation. Nicely done. I doubted him, I'll admit, but he did it. He was neck and neck heading onto the bridge. Doomsday grabs a lead. Can Rap Attack come back? Head into the tunnel. Doomsday's going for the transfer. Rap Attack's coming up short here. Looking for a more controlled route. Nicely done from Doomsday over the rollers. Rap Attack the same. Nicely done over the rollers. Rap Attack's going to have to come up short here, though. Doomsday hard hit on the front end. Rap Attack has a shot. Doomsday goes down. Can Rap Attack get across that finish line? A bit sloppy coming out of that elevated turn, but it does not matter. He's the only one running on the track right now. Can he cross that finish line? Sometimes that's all it takes. Just hold it together long enough for your opponent to make too big of a mistake to recover from. Rap Attack moves on to round 2 with that exact strategy. Nicely done. The Werewolf truck knocks out the V4 here in our first round of the night. Solid racing from Rap Attack. Next race, we got Spellcaster coming out on your left, taking on Incinerator. This could be a really good race as well. We'll see who comes out on top as we get lined up here for your third race of the first round. And we're going green. Up and over the step up. Looking good for Incinerator right now. He's the first one on the ground. He can get that power down sooner. Spellcaster, on the other hand, really bouncy everywhere he goes here. Beautiful downside on that gap, though. Still Incinerator holding on to that lead as we head into the slalom. Pretty decent gap on Spellcaster here. Spellcaster able to make up some ground there just a little bit through the slalom, but a rough landing there on the double roller. Hard hit on the roof for Spellcaster. That is going to be done. Incinerator up onto the bridge. He will be moving on to round 2. He needs to get across that finish line, though. How's he going to do in the tunnel? Looking for a transfer here. Oh, getting up on one wheel for a second there. Pulls those tires back down onto the ground, and he's going to keep running. Will he be able to make it to the finish line? Looking for the gap. Nice landing from Incinerator. If he can do that next round, he might have a little bit of an advantage on his opponent, depending on how the race looks when we get there. Heading up and over this jump here and into the final turn. Incinerator looks like he's going to be moving on to the next round. And that Willman version of Incinerator doesn't seem to be working for him, but this CRD, I believe, might be something else, but this newer version of Incinerator seems to be working a treat for the Incinerator team. We'll see how he does next round, because he'll be there in round 2, taking the win away from Spellcaster. Gearhead coming out next on your right, taking on Spider-Man 2099. Now, we already talked about the Spider-Man trucks this episode, so I don't gotta say that again, but these NAMP trucks, NAMP on your right, Gearhead, is gonna be struggling here on this track, struggling to put the power down, struggling to get straight out of the turns, struggling to keep the truck under control in the turns. We'll see how it goes for him, but I don't think it's gonna happen. Spider-Man 2099 with an early lead, and Gearhead has to come up short on the gap here on the first floor. Not the worst turn from Gearhead. Spider-Man just too big of a lead right now. We'll see if there's a big mistake from Spider-Man soon, and if Gearhead can capitalize on it, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, narrowly avoiding the pit of disqualification there for Gearhead. One thing these NAMP trucks do excel at is getting up onto starting elevation. I've never seen one of these NAMP trucks struggle with that, so I mean, good for him getting up there, but it's Spider-Man in the lead over the bridge, and he's the first one down to the floor as well. Looking for a transfer. Is nicely done. Solid landing there. Is Gearhead gonna do it? He's going for it. Comes up short though. Spider-Man looking for the gap. Of course, he's gonna absolutely nail it. Hard hit on the front end, actually. Did not expect that. Gearhead looking for the gap as well, but he's gonna come up short here. Low and below, get up onto that elevated turn. But it's Spider-Man 2099 getting around that final turn already. Gearhead is done. Spider-Man 2099 is up and over that finish line now. And Gearhead just entering that final turn. And unfortunate, but as we mentioned, man, as I said, we said it as soon as that truck popped up as a pick on the wheel. These NAMP trucks just don't do it on this track. You would have to go against another NAMP truck to take a win. Or maybe a werewolf that goes up, that breaks, or a V4 that rolls over. But next pair out onto the track, Team Mints coming out on your right, taking on Thunder Roris. As I mentioned, Thunder Roris is our Sponsor Showdown Tour champion from Season 1. He wants to come back and show that that is not a fluke. Team Mints has not been featured on this channel before. We'll see how he does as he gets some big air down onto the first floor. Both of these trucks looking good so far, but it's Thunder Roris in the lead. Both trucks or neither one of the trucks, I should say, not the smoothest landing there on that gap on the first floor, but it's neck and neck heading into the slalom. Team Mints looking to try and make up some ground and grab a first place spot, but a big slide in that final turn just takes him out of it. And it is neck and neck up onto starting elevation here. Team Mints a very slight lead heading down the ski hill. Can he hold on to it for the rest of the race? Nicely done down onto that first floor once again. Both of them neither one of them really getting great landings there into the tunnel. Team Mints is looking sloppy right now. Thunder Roris in the lead. Can he clear the gap here on this bottom floor? No, but Team Mints does. Thunder Roris does solid, but it's not enough. Solid is not enough when these Mints Willmans take the track and shoot the gap. You need to be perfect, and that was not. Team Mints is heading around that final turn. Thunder Roris too far behind. Team Mints will be moving on to round 2 tonight, knocking out our Sponsor Showdown Tour champion on your left. Man. I mean, it was a solid race the entire time. It just got down to that bottom floor, and Team Mints was the one that managed to, pull out all the stops here, managing to get across that gap. That's really important. If you can do that and your opponent can't, you have an advantage, depending on the rest of the race, obviously. But Over Revved coming out next on your right, taking on Shaker on your left. This is going to be an interesting race as well. I honestly couldn't even tell you how Over Revved drives. I've never used it. I've always just kind of skipped over it. But this time, the wheel lands right on it, and he has a shot to get into Season 2. Can he get used consistently? Will he actually get some play time? Out a little wide in that first turn. Shaker looking good. Over Revved. Really got to get it together here in this first floor if he wants to come back and take a win or take the win from Shaker. Shaker, another one of those trucks. Granted, it was Saigon Shaker and a different, truck file, a different version of this truck. But the name Saigon Shaker was a substitute on the Custom Chaos Tour in Season 1. He was there for the Azteca show. Head over to my channel if you want to watch it. It was a great show. It was one of our earlier shows, so you could see the progression of my commentary. Not that it's too great right now, but I feel a lot more comfortable on the mic, and I sound a lot more comfortable on the mic as opposed to the very early shows from last season. So if you want to get a cringe or a laugh, head back and check out the Season 1 playlist from start to finish. Shaker going for a ride, and the hard hit on the cab is going to knock him out of this race. Over Rev comes back here. Hard hit on the front end, but it doesn't matter if he can get across that finish line. He will be advancing to round 2, and I gotta say sorry because I counted him out here of this race. I don't know how he drives. And apparently he drives consistent enough for his opponent to make a mistake and for him to come back and grab a win and a spot in round 2. Up and over the finish line goes Over Rev, and we'll be seeing him again in a minute. Nicely done. Way to stay in there and stick with it for Over Rev. Overall, not the cleanest pass, but here's somebody who can have a clean pass. Shake Me. 5 years of Rigs of Rods competition, a 5th anniversary. And this is going to be wild as he takes on Hot Wheels here in round 1. Now, as I mentioned, those Mints Wilmings have an advantage on the competition. They can clear that bottom gap. I don't know if Shake Me can. We'll see how it goes here as Shake Me gets a beautiful downside on the Jackrabbit. Hot Wheels up and over the gap, absolutely overshoots it there, but some of the biggest air we've seen. Nice air from Hot Wheels. Shake Me in the lead right now. Hot Wheels having to, taking an extra second there due to the air to get that truck stopped and turned around in the turn. But it's really neck and neck here. Hot Wheels may even have a slight lead as we head up and over the double rollers. He does. Shake Me looking to come back if he can. And he does. A solid turn there on starting elevation. Hot Wheels behind at the moment, but we'll see how it goes here. Oh, Shake Me getting into some trouble. Oh no. Shake Me got caught on the car. Hot Wheels leads heading into the gap, and that is not a good sign for Shake Me. Oh no! Hot Wheels goes for a ride. That hurt. I don't know if they're gonna let him refire. I don't think so. No, Shake Me is gonna be moving on to round 2. The fabulous F100 coming out of that elevated turn, nearly clipping that launch ramp. Does clip it, but nearly going over due to clipping that launch ramp. But he's gonna come around that final turn, and we'll be seeing him again in round 2. Shake Me from the T-Ray team. Nicely done here in round 1. See if he can do it again in round 2 in just a little bit. We're going to move on to our final race of the first round. Nice stop. He's showing off the skills here in our racing competition. Letting these other trucks know that he's a threat here on this track, or on any track, really. Shock Therapy coming out on your right, a custom scheme of that Shock Therapy truck. Sugar Rush on your left, Sugar Rush Rocket on your left, and he's looking to take a win from Amsoil Shock Therapy. Can he do it? Another truck that really doesn't get much playtime. Up and over the Jackrabbit for both trucks. Sugar Rush overshoots it, and Amsoil Shock Therapy is looking good here on the first floor. Hard hit on the front end for Sugar Rush. Heading into the slalom. Shock Therapy killing it right now. Sugar Rush is looking good, taking a much more controlled route through the slalom. Not really spinning the tires as much like most of these trucks are doing. And he might have made up some time here. I'm not sure. Amsoil Shock Therapy with a rough turn. Loses time for sure. Oh my goodness. What happened there to Sugar Rush? I can't even, it's fixed, so I'm not even gonna continue to comment on it, but that was something. Shock Therapy still in the lead as we head into the tunnel and onto the bottom floor. Sugar Rush clips the wall coming out of the tunnel. Sugar Rush having a very rough race. Amsoil Shock Therapy, nice save off the nose. And a hard hit on Sugar Rush's nose puts him down. Sugar Rush is done. Amsoil Shock Therapy will be moving on to round 2. And I know I said that this was the final race, but I think we have one more if I'm remembering correctly. Shock Therapy will be a competitor in round 2 tonight. As he gets up and over the finish line, we'll see him again in just a little bit. Solid pass. Oh no, that was our final race. Look at that. I am awesome. Troublemaker is going to come out to take on Rap Attack here in your first round, or your second round. Incinerator is going to take on Spider-Man 2099. Team Mint will take on Overrevved, and Shake Me is going to take on Shock Therapy down at the bottom of the bracket. Shock Therapy is going to close out this round 2, and I'm just saying it again to make sure that I remember this time. We are going to head into our second round of racing. Troublemaker is going to face off against Rap Attack here in your first race of round 2. Both trucks on the line, staged and ready to go, and we're going green and headed up and over that step up. Both trucks solid. Rap Attack taking a slower approach, but I mean, that's not too uncommon from the Werewolf trucks. Now he doesn't get a smooth landing on the Jackrabbit, so he's going to come up short and snapping that rear end. He is going to be done. No drive shaft in the front either, I believe, so he is definitely done here. Troublemaker will be free and clear to grab a win here in round 2. Can he make it into the semifinals without a mistake here in the second round? Nicely done over the double rollers there. Nice downside. Getting up onto that starting elevation, looking for the bridge. Again, this node that this truck runs is absolutely solid. It made it up pretty deep into the bracket. I can't tell you specifically exactly how far it made it into the bracket, but he's a solid truck, and he's looking to do it again and potentially get into season 2. And if the Troublemaker name can get in, it's still that obsessed chassis. So we'll see what's up. Up and over that roller on the bottom floor. He's going to go long to low, take it easy here in his free lap. Nicely done through that elevated turn as well. Solid through the chicane. Nice. A lot of these trucks really, it doesn't seem like it, but they aren't getting the smoothest passes through those chicanes in the bottom floor. They kind of just struggle to get that truck subtly turned enough to keep it under control. They kind of throw it in, and it causes them to lose the rear end and get squirrely down that semifinal straight, and you don't really want to do that. You could be in a position where you're wasting too much time there. Troublemaker moves on to our semifinals. Spider-Man 2099 coming out on your left, taking on Incinerator. The Spider-Man trucks looking for their first win into this, or first qualification into the second season of RORSRPS. Incinerator looking for his first qualification as well into any season of RORSRPS. And it's Spider-Man, the first one up and over the gap. Incinerator catching up in the air there. Making up a little bit of ground, but it's Spider-Man leading into the slalom, oversteers. Incinerator comes back, and now it's neck and neck. Neck and neck over the double rollers as well. I thought Spider-Man came back there, but no, Incinerator comes back when Spider-Man lets off the gas. Nicely done, sticking with it for Incinerator, and it's still neck and neck as we head up onto the bridge. Incinerator clips the car, slows him down, having to get that truck adjusted. Spider-Man leads, looking for a transfer. Incinerator, nice and smooth. Spider-Man, now we know he can clear it, but Incinerator can also get a solid landing. Can he do it? Oh, not really. That is not what he did last time around. Spider-Man gets out of it sooner, and it's looking like it's going to be Spider-Man 2099 moving into the semifinals. Yeah, no, just not enough from Incinerator around that final turn. And it's Spider-Man moving on to the semifinals tonight. Spider-Man 2099. See him again in a little bit as our next race comes out onto the track. Look at a stoppie from Incinerator, though. Maybe he'll be able to make it into Season 2 and, you know, throw down in freestyle. We'll see how the rest of our qualifying window goes. But that's going to do it for him tonight as they head back up to the pits and get those trucks checked out. Spider-Man getting prepped for the semifinals tonight. Team Mints coming out on your right, taking on Overrev. Now, I counted Overrev'd out last time, and I'm not going to do that again this time. There is a shot, there is a chance that Team Mints could make a mistake. How big of a chance? You got me there, but there is a chance. Team Mints getting the better landing on the Jackrabbit. Overrev, no slouch, though. He's right there with him. Oh, but he clips the dumpster. Overrev gets a crooked landing and sends him right into the dumpster. He is able to keep running, get that truck out on the track once again, but Team Mints too far ahead at the moment for Overrev to take a win if the finish line were starting elevation. We got a long lap ahead of us, though. We'll see if Team Mints makes a mistake here. Overrev'd up onto starting elevation now, but it's Team Mints first up onto the bridge. Nicely done from both trucks. Overrev'd handling the bridge pretty nicely. He needs to get on the power, though. He's going a bit too slow. Team Mints a little sloppy in the tunnel. That could be Overrev'd's chance if he can get a solid pass on the bottom floor. Team Mints going for his gap, but why wouldn't you if you could do it? Nicely done onto that elevated turn. Overrev'd going long to low. It's going to be Team Mints heading into the semifinals tonight. Nicely done around that final turn for Team Mints. Looked like it was going to be sloppy, but a solid recovery. Team Mints up and over the finish line first. Overrev'd is done tonight. Team Mints moves on to the semifinals. It's looking good for Team Mints. I'd love to get Team Mints in this season too. That'd be nice. Awesome looking truck. Throwback, obviously. This is of course a retro replica custom. So I mean, old body on the new truck, which is awesome. I love it. I love the way that thing looks, and it'd be a great addition into Season 2. Speaking of great additions into Season 2, Shake Me coming out on your right, taking on Shock Therapy on your left. Can Shake Me fend off Shock Therapy? Shock Therapy had a pretty solid pass last time around. Who will come out on top here? Up and over the Jackrabbit, the 5th anniversary truck, Shake Me, heading up and over that gap first, absolutely airing it out. Huge leap from Shake Me. And a nice lead heading into the slalom on Amsoil Shock Therapy. Shock Therapy looking to make up some time here to get right there with them, but it's not going to happen through the slalom. Shake Me holds that lead. Beautiful downside on the double roller. Shock Therapy too, though. Shock Therapy, you can't count him out. He does have a shot. He is a really solid truck. Node-wise, it's a solid driving truck. Up and over the bridge. Shake Me still holding that lead. Amsoil Shock Therapy doing solid. We'll see who comes with a better transfer here. Shake Me getting into trouble in the tunnel. Amsoil Shock Therapy grabs the lead from Shake Me. Oh, but sloppy rollers knock out Shock Therapy. Shake Me comes back. Nice jump from, nice gap from Shake Me. Amsoil shock therapy gets into trouble. Manages to save the truck, but I don't think he's going to be able to save the run. Shake Me is going to be moving on to the semifinals if he gets a clean turn here. And he does. Up and over the triple and headed to the finish line. Shake Me is going to be taking on Team Mints in the semifinals. Wow. What a race. I mean, it was back and forth there for a second. But it's in the end, it's Shake Me heading into the semifinals. Nicely done. Semifinals are looking insane. Troublemaker is going to be taking on Spider-Man 2099. Really, if you know both of those trucks, it could be an insane race. Team Mints is going to be taking on Shake Me. And from what we've seen tonight, that is going to be an insane race. This is looking like one of our best semifinal rounds that we've seen so far. And I am excited to see it go down. Troublemaker coming out on your right. Spider-Man 2099 on your left. And they're going to be kicking off the semifinals here. Both trucks staged and ready to go. And we're green already. Coming down onto that first floor. Obsessed leads to the Jackrabbit. Huge lead from both of these trucks. Beautiful landings from both of them. Troublemaker still holding onto that slight lead. The pressure is on Spider-Man right now. And with a big slide there, having an oversteer once again from Spider-Man 2099. With that, that is going to hurt. Ooh, Troublemaker sloppy coming out of the slalom there. Spider-Man grabs a lead. Ignore me, I don't know what I'm talking about. Spider-Man in the lead once again, looking for that final round placement, and he just might get it. Oh no! Spider-Man gets caught on the cars this time. Spider-Man has a flat tire in the left front, so Troublemaker has a shot at making it into the finals right now. These tires can pop back into a fully functioning tire, and that's what Spider-Man is hoping for right now. If he wants to get a win, but having to go long to low on that elevated turn gap is gonna hurt him. Troublemaker heading into that final turn. It's not gonna happen for Spider-Man 2099. With that flat tire, it just took too much out of him. And it's going to be Troublemaker moving on to the finals tonight. Oh, Spider-Man comes up short on the triple. What a crash there from Spider-Man. Down he goes, unable to make it to the finish line. Was so close, too. But look at this. Team Mints coming out on your right, taking on Shake Me. Talk about a celebration of a 5th anniversary. Taking on one of the biggest trucks, in early Monster Jam here. Team Mints, first one to the ground, but Shake Me is right there with him. He's going to have a better landing on the Jackrabbit. Arguably, it's about the same. Team Mints does have a slight lead heading up and over the gap here on the first floor. But it's a close race. We got a long way to go, too. Heading through the slalom. I mean, it's essentially neck and neck. Team Mints does have a very slight lead, but that could all go away at any moment with the way this track treats these trucks. Both of them getting about the same landing on the downside for the double rollers. Team Mints leads onto the bridge, though. Big brake check for Shake Me. That is not looking good. Team Mints leads heading into the tunnel, looking for a transfer here. Nicely done. Shake Me a little all over the place there on that transfer. But he's doing good. He's still fighting for his spot. He's still in the race. He's not out of it. We'll see how it goes here on the gap. Team Mints, nicely done. Oh, nearly overshoots the turn there. Shake Me gets a beautiful turn, and it's pretty much neck and neck here coming down that semifinal straight. It's anyone's race heading into the final turn. with a big slide from Team Mints. They are neck and neck over the triple. It could go either way in this final straight. Up and over the finish line, it's Shake Me taking the win here in the semifinals, snatching it from Team Mints. What a race. Team Mints in the lead from the start. Down he goes over that speed bump there. Oh my goodness. What a semifinal race. Troublemaker is going to be taking on Shake Me in the finals. And this is another race that could go either way. Troublemaker has been solid. My memory is failing me right now, but there is a shot that chassis has made it up into the finals before. If not, he's definitely made it into the semifinals. So, I mean, he's a strong racer. Overall, Shake Me, first appearance on this channel, first appearance on this track. Could be making his first appearance in the season 2 of RORSRPS. Both trucks on the line, staged and ready to go, and we're going green for your final race of the night. Up and over the step up, heading to the Jackrabbit. Troublemaker with a very slight lead. Neck and neck over the gap though. Man. Shake Me with a much better landing than Troublemaker. Troublemaker coming up just too short, just a little too short there. This is for all the marbles here. This is the winner of this race is our next qualifier. So this is it for these two trucks. I mean, if you fail, you're gonna come back. You have a shot at coming back if the wheel lands on you, but that's not what I'm talking about tonight. This is it for your truck. Going around that final, or that turn on the starting elevation. Shake Me with a slight lead over Troublemaker right now. Neck and neck coming off the bridge, though. Troublemaker even grabs a slight lead. It's trading back and forth at this point. This is quite a race so far here in your final round. Troublemaker sloppy. So is Shake Me. And it is neck and neck over the rollers on the bottom floor. It all comes down to who has a better gap here. That's really going to, decide this race. And it is Shake Me who gets a better landing, and Troublemaker goes down. Shake Me is heading out of the chicane and into that final turn. Shake Me is your next Season 2 qualifier. Celebrating 5 years of Rigs of Rods, Shake Me will be in Season 2, looking to come out on top and take down all competition. That is an exciting addition to the Season 2 roster here. And you can vote for his tour placement on the RORSRPS Instagram. Head over there, follow, and keep an eye on my stories. Not only will you get links directly to videos when I post them, we got new ones coming out daily for the qualifying series, but on the weekends we also will be having our tour placement votes, and every vote counts. A lot of the votes come down to tiebreakers or one vote difference. I mean, just this weekend we had Bob and Tom had to be broken by a tiebreaker, but quite a few trucks come down to either a tiebreaker or a single vote, and Shake Me could be one of those trucks. I need your votes. Head over to Instagram, follow RORSRPS, and keep an eye on my story. One last look at Shake Me. But anyways, that is going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Follow that RORSRPS Instagram. Don't forget to vote. And be here tomorrow for more Season 2 Qualifier.